insane run with Goryos Vengeance.
This week on battlechads.
Hello everybody and welcome to this special episode of battlechads. I'm Josh and I'm here with the Goryos legend himself, Adriano. Adriano, hello.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thank you for welcoming on the show.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you on. I mean, you're getting a bit of a hype at the moment because of your insane run with Goryos Vengeance, a deck that I love. Like, I love this deck. And you've been absolutely killing it with this deck, am I right?
Yeah, right. I love this deck too.
So, before we sort of talk about the deck, before we move on to sort of this deck tech episode, as it were, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? When did you sort of first start playing Magic? Some of your Magic successes, because I do believe you are quite successful in the game of Magic the Gathering. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Adriano. I'm from Italy. I'm 29, and I started playing Magic like a lot of time ago, more than 10 years ago. And I live in Malta. I've been living in Malta from last 2 years. And my great achievement in Magic are like Italian champion of
Yeah,
like 6 years ago, and was followed by third place awards with the team awards.
yeah.
And then I played a lot of Pro Tour with never top 8, but some top 16 and stuff. And I did like 3-4 top 8 to Grand Prix, one with Goryo Vengeance.
Nice,
And I did top 25 awards last year.
amazing. So you really well accomplished, really well accomplished. So
Yeah, missing something, but yeah, I'll try.
So I'm really excited to talk about Goryos Vengeance. Like the lads, the other my co-hosts Sam and Dan will tell you how much I've loved this deck. I played this deck last season. I absolutely it brought to me something that I was missing out of the Frog deck, because I was playing a lot of Psychic Frog deck, Murktide decks, and I just needed a deck that packed a little bit of a punch and could almost win out of nowhere, and that's sort of like why I moved to Goryos Vengeance. But tell me, what is it about this deck that attracted you?
Okay, so I always liked this deck because I had a small mid-range plan with the frog and
Mm-hmm.
the creators, and then can combo out every time
Mm-hmm.
with protection. And once you do Goryo on Atraxa, game is almost, it's not a combo, but game is a lot complicated for the opponent.
Yes.
So that's what I like. And then it also like a lot skill intensive
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be really careful on when combo, when go mid range, what to discard, when to surveil, not mulliganing right hand
Mm-hmm.
and not keeping too slow hand and stuff. Know how to play every matchup and which kind of sideboard rate you can get because you have your right graveyard deck.
Mm-hmm. You're completely right. The skill intensive was massive. It seems to be like a deck you could just game one pick up, make a big fatty, and then this is amazing. But then when game two happens, it's like, oh, how do I sideboard? What do I take out? Because essentially it is as you're right, you've got the secondary game plan of Frog. You've got other things in this deck that is almost a secondary game plan. But that primary game plan is, in all intents and purposes, a combo. And one of those things with combo style decks is, how do you sideboard? Like, do I take how much of the combo do I shave? If I shave any of it, what hate am I going to go against? And you were completely right. It's very skill intensive, and it wrecked my head the first time I picked this deck up, I must admit.
Yeah, that's the hard part. And also in this modern, actually, you can never combo apart from a couple of matchup. You can never combo easy. Every deck has some counter, some graveyard date in main deck. I think about Treben Charm, Godzilla Command, and stuff like that. So I think now with this deck configuration, the main plan is, for example, against Boros, I like to be a mid-range deck that so Boros has to tap out at some point because he's dying by Frog, by Riddler, and so at some point he has to tap out and he will lose by Goryo. That's the point. If he never taps out, he will end losing by Frog and Quantum Riddler and Arcast Solitude and stuff like that.
There's only so long they can sandbag that Thraben charm for, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's like if they do one drop, two drop, and then never tap to mana again to trap and charm,
Hmm.
I'm gonna beat them anyway. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna play Riddle, Solitude, and other stuff. So
yeah.
at that point, they say, okay, I have to tap or I lose, and Atraxa comes at the point in the ideal game.
Hmm. So we talked about this before, before we start recording, that there's so many ways to interpret the Goryos Vengeance deck. You know, we've seen the Grixis version playing Sin from the Final Fantasy set. We've seen the archaeologist sort of style where it's like more in on the combo, trying to get the combo online as quickly as possible. But if you look at your version as it's on the screen here, it's at first it looks like a mid-range deck, like a sort of Esper mid-range deck. But then when you actually look into it, you've got the Atraxa Goryos Vengeance package, the discard outlets and all that good stuff. But it's a really interesting thing. What made you think that? Well, let's talk about Quantum Riddler for starters. What made you think that a card like Quantum Riddler would just fit into this deck over something like Falagi Archaeologist?
Okay, so actually, I started to. I have the Pro Tour in Atlanta next month. This month, actually, because it's in 24th of September.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started testing around July, I was like, okay, let's give it a shot to Goryo, which is one of my favorite deck, and I already know how to play it good.
Yep.
And I, of course, I tried the old list with Fallaci and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I still like the deck, but I was like, this deck is it's really funny, but probably it's not enough for a pro tour. You know, it's not a tier one as
Mm-hmm.
a lot dependency of the combo. So I didn't play it anymore. But then we had the Quantum Riddler in Edge of Eternities, and at the point I started to try the Esper Blink deck, the classic one with the
Yeah. Yeah.
Overlord. But I was like, I didn't like because it has a lot of bad matchups against the combo deck, like
Mm-hmm.
Amulet. Storm and stuff like that. So I was like, maybe Quantum Reader can work in Goryo as well because I'm running Ephemerate,
Yep.
I'm discarding cards with Frog, so maybe it's the perfect card even here. And I started with two, but the it was not performing really good at the beginning because the also the deck list needed some
Mm-hmm.
adjustment because you have to play more force of negation,
Yep.
subtlety, and stuff like that. Because now you can do also the fateful mending. Now you can
Mm-hmm.
do card disadvantage in early game to go Quantum Riddler
Mm-hmm.
and recover it in a long term.
It's amazing because at first I was really dubious. I was like, why would you? Because to me, Ephemerate, an archaeologist is like you see 9 cards and then you're building towards your combo, and it's more of an aggressive way to lean on the combo. But for this, when you look at Quantum Riddle itself, it's a win con. You ephemerate that thing. It's like it can't be fatal pushed. It can block a Scion and Draco. It replaces itself. So even if it does get answered, it's already replaced itself, sometimes twice over.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's a really interesting card. So let's look at the deck then. So you said before, the main game plan is you put an Atraxa or a Grusselbrand into the bin, and then you instant speed reanimate it with Goryos Vengeance.
Yes.
Once you've reanimated it, then the plan is to ephemerate it, and then you've got a fatty out, or just drown your opponent in card advantage. And as you said before, it's not a combo deck, but the game is basically over because of the value, at least.
Exactly. When you ephemerate it is much more over than when you don't, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes happen that you don't find the ephemerate and stuff like that. But
Yep.
so most of the time you can find the combo again, with
Mm-hmm.
taking another Atraxa, another Goryo. So you can do some stuff once you resolve your first Goryo.
Cool. So you're playing 4 Psychic Frog. You're playing 4 Quantum Riddler. I'm sure there's going to be tips and tricks and stuff with Quantum Riddler because, as we discussed on our last podcast with Control Freak, there is some hidden text in terms of like attacking with Frog and drawing cards off Frog, etc. But there's a few little interesting choices that are in this deck. So first I want to talk about is Priest of the Fell Rites. Now usually Priest of the Fell Rites is usually Emperor Bones. Am I right?
Yes, was Emperor on board in the first challenges. First 2 challenges was Emperor on board, and then was replaced with the Priest of Rice.
And your challenges is really actually I really want to just preemptify your preemptify that's not even a word. I want to emphasize your challenge run because you had like back-to-back wins on challenges, which is really impressive, and you were just been you had an insane run with this deck recently.
Yeah, yeah. After spending a lot of games for tuning it, at some point I was like, okay, now the deck list is amazing, and I can start playing it in challenges and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really did. So tell me that priest. Why priest over Emperor Bones?
Okay, main reason is that I don't want, except for Goryos Vengeance and the one Griselbrand, I don't want card that can be pitched with Solitude or Force of Negation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main reason, because especially with Quantum Riddler in deck, I want to be able to get rid of all of my cards and
Yep.
play Solitude, play Force of Negation aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And the second reason is that when I added the four faithful mending instead of the indulgence, you are gonna discard more cards. So having a better card to discard with as Priest of Fell Rights is
Mm-hmm.
instead of the Emperor of the Bones. I like it more because he has flashbacks, so a
Yep.
lot of time you end up draw two, discard two, draw two, so you will have this additional resource on and sometimes again, in some matchup you play it at turn 2 and it's really good because then you can go reanimate Atraxa
Mm.
by discarding on turn 3.
And it's still, it's still two beater if you know the decks that are trying to like get under a deck like playing against like Tron or something. It's still a 2 mana threat that can still do a bit of work until you can finish them off, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, against combo decks which doesn't have a lot of spot removals, and also like in blue black frog matchup is amazing because they
Yes.
can answer the unearth. So you will unearth even if they have. I won a game when they have like 5 cards in hand. You
Mm-hmm.
know that they have 4 counters, but they can't answer the unearth.
Yep. Yeah, uncounterable reanimate spell is really good. So that's really interesting. I always thought Priest of Fire maybe it's something to do with the fact that you can just there's no middle ground in it. You can just pay the life. You're not paying the extra 2 mana to reanimate because Emperor of the Bones is a 4 mana investment and a combat step. So it can be quite how do you say fragile in that sense.
Yeah. Emperor is interesting as well because it's a graveyard date card. But
Mm,
I think if Emperor was white black and Priest only black, I'll play the Emperor. But the
yeah.
main reason is Solitude.
Yeah, that's such a really interesting. I never actually thought that would have been the reason. Just to empty your hand for the Riddler package. So you are quite in on the Riddler in this deck then.
Yeah, exactly. I
Mm.
want to You can pitch the Goryo, but if you see every other card is also Faithful Mending. The double pitch is one of the reason you play instead of the Indulgence.
Yes. Yeah, that's really interesting. I do actually want to talk more about Faithful Mender. You did allude to why you play, but I do want to talk about it more. But we'll just finish off the creature package for now. So Psychic Frog's obvious. It's a discard outlet. It's the secondary game plan. The card can just run away with the game. Do you want anything to say anything extra about Psychic Frog that we don't already know, maybe? Or
Yeah, Psychic Frog is also amazing with the Riddler because you can, when you do the Riddler and you
mm-hmm.
want to cycle some cards, you can discard and end up one card anytime you want.
Yeah.
So is probably Frog is the best card of the deck.
Yes.
Does 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 everything you want. Is
Mhm.
perfect.
I honestly, ever seen this when I seen Psychic Frog being printed, I was like, this is everything I want to do in Legacy at the time and Modern, but unfortunately got banned out of Legacy. But I was like, this is everything I want to do. One of my favorite cards out of Pauper was Ninja of the Deep Hours. So I love that. Hitting them and getting rewarded to hitting your opponent. It was like this is amazing. Quantum Riddler talked about Solitude. Solitude is a card right now in Modern. Am I right?
Yeah, it's one of the best cards, and in combo with with the Ephemerate, it lets you take down
Mm.
a lot of boards, and it's mana. You don't have to pay mana cost, so that explains.
It's so good. Like it's one of the reasons why like sort of like the Murktide decks are sort of like falling off the sort of meta game. The same with the Oculus decks is because they're just Solitude. It's just absolutely lights out.
Yeah, the card is amazing. Is You really need it. That's the main reason you play with white instead of Grixis version,
Mm.
the Solitude. being able to go solitude ephemerate.
But you've also
And
back.
now you,
Go on, sorry.
yeah, and now the card disadvantage you may make most of the time you can recover it as said with the reader,
Yes.
so it's even better now.
Yes. It's so good right now. And then you've also backed it out with a copy of Subtlety as well. You do have another one on the sideboard, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But you got a main board copy of Subtlety. Why is that?
Yeah, it's just one more way to cheat at zero mana,
Hmm.
but it's obviously not good as Solitude, but because Solitude is good in every matchup,
Yeah.
while Sabbath not the best against some matchup. That's why you're playing only 1+1 in the sideboard. I was playing two of them, but there was not much space, so I would like to play two, but I'm playing 1+1 at the moment.
I mean, Subtlety is great. I mean, all these cards are like super good with Ephemerate, right? You're really getting the value out of Ephemerate with this. It's like almost as good, if not better, than the sort of straight up Blink decks.
Yeah, and also, when you resolve your Atraxa with
Hmm.
Ephemerate, then having a full 7 card and being able to play 3 for 3 on the turn once you have to resolve another Ephemerate or make a lot of card advantage,
Yeah.
having 0 mana cost are amazing. For example, when I top 8 the GP in Amsterdam last year with Goryo, it was even more amazing because you had Griff as well in this deck. So
Yes.
after you solved your Atraxa or before resolving to be sure, you could Griff and Solitude and Force of Negation. It was really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all glad that Grief's gone, but yeah, Ephemerate and a Grief is just discard 3 cards for like, well, 3 cards of their choice for essentially 3 of your cards while having a body out is pretty good. So I guess Atraxa is like the game plan. I don't think we need to touch more about that. It's your main sort of thing. If you've not seen Atraxa, I guess Google it 'cause it's amazing. You draw your 10 cards. But you've got a copy of Ketramos as well. Now, Ketramos has been a bit of a weird one for me because sometimes it's felt like amazing, but other times it's felt like absolutely 3 mana do nothing. So how have you found Ketramos in this?
I like Ketramos because it's good for bot tower plans. It's good for the mid-range plan,
Mm-hmm.
and is our sixth target on for Goryo because it's legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're not really happy to reanimate the Ketramos, but
Yep.
sometimes when you have two Goryo and no creatures, okay, I'll reanimate the Ketramos and ephemerate it. So I like it for bot plans. I don't like the two Griselbrand because sometimes it sticks in your hand because
Yes.
as mentioned you can pitch it and stuff like that, so I think Ketramos is a good one for bot plans, for mid-range plan and reanimate it. And
Yes.
sometimes I also want some games with frog in play, end of turn reanimate the Ketramos and then
Yes.
play Quantum Riddler. At this point you draw 2 instead of 1
Yeah.
when you excel 3, and you can make a really big frog and kill your opponent.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I wonder if is there like an infinite combo there?
If you have 2 Quantum Riddler, you can go XL3 and you will end up losing 1 life to put 3 counters on frog. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a frog. But if you have just 1 Quantum Riddler, with every card in your graveyard, you will be able to put 3 counters on frog. So
Yeah.
if you have like 5-6 card graveyard, you just win
Yeah.
with this mini combo.
Amazing. So that's a really it's a really clean creature package. You've got like the one off Ketramus, one off Priest of the Fell Rights, one off Subtlety, but the rest is just solid 4, 4, 4, 4. Really clean looking sort of creature package that all have some sort of synergy within the deck.
Yes, yes, yes. Also, for example, you have to think the one Griselbrand is just the fifth Atraxa,
Yeah.
and the priest is the fifth Goryo, essentially. So
Yeah.
it's just a way to play more of the good cards.
Amazing. Now, I notice you're playing one copy of Teferi, Time Reveler May. Now, I love Teferi, Time Reveler in this deck. It can answer problematic permanents. It can, it can really, you can really cash in on the instant sort of instant speed game plan. But why have you usually you see it in the sideboard? So why main board?
I like it for a lot of reasons. One is that I'll say that to every card, but it's white and blue, so you can pitch to all both your cards,
Mm-hmm.
and you still are a combo deck. So having the possibility of making Goryo without answer is as you may imagine is amazing.
Yes.
And also Atraxa, when you resolve Atraxa, it takes one permanent type.
Uh huh.
So being able to have a planeswalker, sometimes it happens in your pick, you just take one card more, you know.
Yeah, that is true because there was the Glorious Vengeance deck that played the domain package for Leyline Binding, and that also meant that
Exactly.
you could get another card off Atraxa, whether it be to pitch or whether it be to just actually play. So yeah, it's a really good point. Um, especially now with just playing a few more, well, a couple of sort of sorcery speed spells
Yeah,
in the guise of prismatic ending. You increase because usually like you reanimate an Atraxa, you get what instant creature land, and now you've got access to planeswalker and now sorcery too. So you could actually potentially get 5 cards off your Atraxa ETB.
yeah, exactly. That's the point. That's the point of all. The prismatic ending, I like it a lot because I really wanted some more answer for Ragavantor one because I
Yes.
didn't want to be forced to solitude it, both Ragavantor one
Mm-hmm.
and Frogtor two, and this is also really good against Graveyard eight.
Yes.
Let's imagine your opponent has like Relic of Progenitus,
Mm-hmm.
and you have your Atraxa. You can 1 mana ending your Progenitus, and
Yeah.
with the fact that Goryo is instant speed, they at that point they have no way to answer because if they exile, you go Goryo in response
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Forces action, doesn't it? Forces the
Yeah,
action.
forces action.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've really liked Prismatic Ender for exactly the same reason that you said. There's nothing else to add. Ragavan is an annoying for this deck. I think last season I lost the finals of an RCQ because I had an insane hand, and then I got turn 1 Ragavan, couldn't answer it, and then he turn 2 Blood Moon me, and I was like, no! I had like an insane hand, and I was like, I wish I just had like one more bit of low to the ground interaction. But the sorcery speed for Prismatic Ender doesn't really matter, does it? Because on turn 1, you're not really doing much. You may be surveilling, but you don't really have
Yeah,
any. Yeah.
exactly. Don't have much to do on turn one. So, yeah, in sideboard you have the toxizes, but with this deck you usually surveil at turn one.
Yeah.
So you have, and of course you can't answer like Amulet of Vigor,
Yes.
Expedition Map, turn one, stuff like that. So I think it's a really good one. And as you mentioned, it is a sorcery, so you can take with the Atraxa in
Hmm.
addition to the other cards. So I like it. I'm running. It's always running two, now running three in this meta. I
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah. I think that's good. It could also be an instant speed spell if you have a Teferi out and you uptick Teferi.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Cool. So we'll move on to the instant package. Ephemerate. I think in this deck, it speaks for itself. Ephemerate and Quantum Riddler, even using it as a protection spell against Frog, I guess could be used.
Yes. Why not?
Um. So
I think it speaks by itself. The ephemerate in this deck, you just
yes.
have you want to ephemerate the Atraxa, the
Yeah.
Quantum
Yeah. Yeah.
Riddler, the Solitude. This
Yeah.
just
So good.
the best card. So good, yeah.
So good. So, Faithful Mending then. You alluded before you like it because it pitches. We play 3 Force Negations in this deck. Force Negation was a really good card in when Modern was doing things like Violent Outburst stuff. You could protect your silliness in their turn, and this is sort of on the same sort of level. So Faithful Mending discards the Force Negation. It discards the Solitude. It discards the Subtlety. And you says it reduces your hand size. Does the life gain come up? Is there any other advantages to this over Tainted Indulgence?
Yeah, I think I already mentioned the double pitch,
Mm-hmm.
but also with 4 Quantum Riddlers, you're not scared anymore a lot of doing card disadvantage.
Yeah.
So discard two, I think it's better to discard two twice because it has
Mm-hmm.
flashback, than discard one once.
Mm-hmm.
And also the two life are not bad. The fact that you can pitch by with solitude, I
Mhm.
think is a lot of stuff. But I think for with this deck list is 100% the right choice instead of the indulgence. The indulgence I didn't like it a lot because this kind of cards in when you go your mid range plan, most of the time you don't want to just go draw to this card two. You just end up pitching it.
Yeah.
So when you're not going combo, I won't be able to pitch it.
I mean, it does get rid of your dead draws though, because like, you know, there's times when, you know, you've got two or three fatties in your hand, and you're like, I just don't need these in my hand. I can just get rid of them, and you tainted indulgence can't. But also the tainted indulgence has that secret text of, you know, if there's 5 or more CMCs in your graveyard, you can't actually discard, and that's actually come up quite a lot. For me, you know, I lost a game actually on Magic Online the other day because I had too many sort of card types in my graveyard, and I couldn't actually discard my one fatty for the win. So just
I think now the deck is more like I go really aggressive on through to this card two.
yeah,
Just cycle the deck.
yeah,
Go solitude aggressive, force aggressive, and then you go a Quantum Riddler and end up like drawing 5 cards in one turn
yeah,
like this, and you just continue refreshing your hand, draw this card,
yeah.
and at some point you will find your way to win with drawing basically a lot of cards.
Yeah, and drawing more cards means you're hitting land drops, you're hitting, you know, your answers to certain things. You know, you're feeling frog. You do so much synergy.
Yes, yes, yes.
So Goryo's Vengeance, the card itself. Have you ever spliced this card?
Never.
No, I've not either. Like, okay, like we were talking about this. I can't remember who I was talking with about it, and they saying that they spliced it, and I was like, it's never come up to me splicing this card.
No, I never, because if I have two in my hands, I will go one, and if it's answered, I have the second. I don't want to
Yeah,
pay 5 to one into two in one spell. I want to
yeah,
do it separate in this case.
yeah.
Never happened to me actually.
Mm-hmm. So you're playing one copy of Sink into Stupor, making a 21, essentially 21 lands in this deck. A lot of times this deck has been playing 20 lands. I think I've seen lists playing 20, 21. But you're playing the Sink into Stupor. How's that felt, the 21st sort of land there?
I like the 21 land version because is you sometimes you have you struggle to hit the second land drop. You have to
Mm-hmm.
mulligan a lot of hands.
Mm-hmm.
But this card is those 20 lands are locked in, like 10 fetch land, one basic, one surveil, and one shock land of all. And
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted the 21, and I was like, what am I playing? And I think that card is good because you can pitch it, and when there are some games when you go multiple attractors and then one bounce effect in my deck, I like it.
Yeah, yeah, that's understandable. You know, an all-star and a lot of tempo decks, and this is essentially, I mean, this deck can be a tempo deck, it can be a mid-range deck, and it can be a combo deck. It's so versatile, and this just
Yeah, I
fits right
think
in.
that's his power. Yes, that's his power. That you go right, you attack in multiple way with the frogs, with the combo, with the zero card spells and stuff like that.
So the land base looks pretty standard for Goryos. I have seen I've seen Hedgemaids being played. I've been playing the black green one specifically because I felt like in the build I was playing I really wanted the black mana, but I think in this build I think the blue mana is probably more important, especially with Riddler.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, if you see the deck list, is basically white, blue,
Mm-hmm.
splashing Goryo and Frog. So I don't. Most of the time, I don't want the black mana on turn one. I just want the blue one.
Yeah,
And also, not playing Toxic main deck. I don't really need that
yeah,
black mana that early in the game.
cool. Anything? Sorry, go on.
And of course, this green mana is to hardcast the
Yes.
Atraxa. Sometimes it happens.
It comes up. I've done it more frequently than not. Actually, believe it or not, like it just, you know, in the sloggy games of Pasco, and then you just playing lands, and then you're just like, well, I'm going to hardcast this. Can you answer it?
And it's also really important because sometimes you have to prismatic ending X4 when Belcher
Yes,
tries to hardcast the Belcher and close his eyes and pass you just fetch your 4 color and go prismatic
yeah,
ending X equals 4.
yeah. Anything else to say in the mana base?
No, it's pretty standard for the Goryo. It's like one basic of each, one shockland, 10 fetches, and of course the 4 surveillance, which
Yes,
are amazing in this deck.
really good in this deck. You know, the turn. I remember a game I had only last week. It was I thought seized my Tainted Indulgence away, and then I end step Surveil landed, and there was an Traxxas on top. I was like, zero
Yeah,
mana
yeah,
Entomb, let's go.
yeah, really good. These sometimes are entomb as it's just entomb.
Cool. So we'll move on to sideboard now. So your sideboard configuration, Celestial Purge,
Blood Moon.
Blood Moon.
Just Blood Moon. Yeah, you suffer Blood Moon a lot.
Yeah.
And of course it's really versatile. I don't know the English word. You can
Versatile, yeah.
use in versatile. Yeah. You can put in a lot of matchup, like of course the Boros Energy,
Mm-hmm.
it's a prowess, the Zoo deck. You have a lot. You can play in a lot of matchup. I like it. It's one copy, and this
Yes.
is your best answer to Blood Moon,
Mm-hmm.
to Psychic Frog sometimes. If you're playing against the Esper midrange and the play Frog, Emperor of the Bones and Overlord, you want it. So I like this card. Yes, I might think about put the second one because
Yeah.
you really suffer the Blood Moon.
Yeah. I've sometimes played two and it's felt really good. I just want to mention just because it just popped into my head about faithful mending. The amount of times that so if you play the sort of heavy blue black version or the blue black version that splashes black, not the black, it's not the blue white version that splashes not the black white version that splashes black. I found that with sometimes you get like a watery grave or a blue black land or something, and then your second land is the plains, and that's basically no lands at that point because you can't do anything with just like blue and black and white. But with this,
you can frog, you can
yeah.
With this you can yes.
And Celeste,
And also the white mana is the best one to fetch against Blood Moon because you will be able to Celestial Purge and play ending and stuff like that.
Yes, because you can't really afford to do that in the blue black version because you need the blue black priority. So fetching the planes obviously feels bad, but not so bad in the Blood Moon version, which is why Celestial Purge is really good against that. Also, Consign to Memory 4 of.
Yes, probably one of the best cards in Modern, Consent to Memory. You side in a lot of matchups. You in this deck you have a reason to. I tried also to main deck some copy of it.
Yes.
But Ephemerated ended up really being really better. And
Yeah.
in this deck is also you can also make like an ephemerate with your combo because you can counter the exiling ability of the Goryo Vengeance. So when I put 4 consigns, I always side out 1 or maybe 2 ephemerate. In the Tron match, I side 2 out of the ephemerate because I don't want too many cards doing like the same thing.
Yeah. It's essentially it's ephemerate 0.75, isn't it? Essentially, because it's got text against what the other person's doing. It's got a lot of text against what all the other cards are doing, but also can help your strategy too.
Exactly, and also with of course the Quantum Riddler warp ability, you can counter it.
Yes,
it's probably one of the best cards in Modern. You side it like in 10 different matchup. You want the consign.
Yeah. One copy Mystical Dispute.
Yeah, that's to protect your combo. Is you side in a lot of matchups like Affinity, Belcher, Frog, Mirror. I like it. One copy of this is an additional counter. Really, really cheap. Really good against Frog and stuff like that.
Cool. Now you didn't really see strict graveyard hate in the sideboards of Goryos Vengeance because they were doing things better and they had like stack interaction, all that good stuff. But I see more people including graveyard stuff, and you've put 2 copies in the Hill Spellbomb in it. Is that for meta change?
I think now you have to play some graveyard date because of the Goryo doing well. The Greek Reanimator is good against Amulet, which now wins with the Analyst. So graveyard date is good. It's good against Flage, of course. And this particular one, as already mentioned, is an artifact, so you can take with your Atraxa.
Yep.
and you can cycle it, so you can even if my opponent has only the flage, and you'll say, okay, I don't like to put a graveyard card, a straight graveyard card just for the flage, but this one is cycling, so
Hmm.
you can just put it, you know.
Yeah, worst case scenario, it's just a cantrip, isn't it? At the floor of it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, so this is a smart one
Hmm.
play.
I love this card. Pest control. This card has saved me more than I would care to admit. Like, this card is so good. One copy pest control. Tell me about pest control.
So actually, I won 3 slots between Pest Control and Wrath of the Sky for the energy matchup and the affinity matchup.
Hmm.
Uh, but I found like Pest Control is I like the 2-1 split because Pest Control is a cycling ability. So,
Hmm.
for example, if I have to side against the Amulet deck, I'm okay doing it because you can do 2 mana destroy your Amulet, but in worst case scenario, you can cycle it. Is 1 mana cheaper, which can be really game changing against
Hmm.
the energy matchup and a lot in the affinity matchup because they go like turn 1 emissary and play a lot of artifact. And if you don't answer with pest control, they will just cap a cannoneer next turn. So
Yeah.
that 1 mana less in modern can be really game changing, and also of course the second ability.
Yes. Yeah. At floor, it's a cantrip. At the ceiling, you're killing 4 constructs. Graveyard hate. Completely wiping the board. Really delivers to the ground sort of decks. It's such a good card.
Yeah, also against the mention at the Ragavan.
Hmm. Yes.
When you're on the play, you can answer it with the pest control, and you can do it with the Wrath of the Sky.
Hmm.
So probably Wrath of the Sky is better because it kills the Saga, and you can do by X equal 2. But I think 2-1 is a good split because
Yeah.
this is more cheap.
I agree. Yeah. Um, the second copy of Subtlety, you said before you were thinking about playing the second one main. You really value it for the reasons we've already talked about. Is there anything you want to add about the second copy of Subtlety the second copy in the sideboard?
Yeah, I think I like it in a lot of matchups, like Amulet,
Hmm.
like the Neo brand, the Esper.
Hmm.
A lot of matchup. I want my second one. Then I already mentioned that the deck is like a lot to do in 0 mana spells. So in sideboard having one more
Yeah.
is good.
Cool. Same for Teferi. Anything more to add on that? You got the second copy in the sideboard for when it's really good.
Yeah, Teferi is a pretty amazing car, but modern is fast, so
Yes.
in a lot of matchup he is just too slow. But when he's good, you want 2 of them. Well,
Yeah.
like in the Esper mid range
Yes.
blink matchup is amazing. So
Mm.
in that matchup, you really want two of them.
I can't remember many games I've lost when I've just had a Teferi on the board, just protecting
Yeah,
my game plan, like especially in
yeah.
this deck.
If it survives, it's really to lose in. But if, of course, if you're against Boros Energy, 3 mana sorcery bounce a cat is not enough.
No.
But I think in the matchup is good. You really want 2 of them.
Mm. Top copies of Thoughtseize in the board.
Toxis was on main deck and
Hmm.
was now it's on sideboard because of in a lot of matchup you don't like it. I don't like it anymore. But of course, this is the deck list at the moment for the meta. But if the meta switches like more combo, more mirror, that I can see myself playing them back in the main deck.
Yeah.
And of course, as already mentioned in the main deck, I'm trying anyway to not play only cards that can be pitched to Solitude and
Yes.
Force of Negation. As I said a lot of times, just the Goryo because you're forced to it.
Yep. Makes perfect sense. I like having a strategy, I like having a game plan, and then just sticking to it. Really consistent game plan too. Really helps in especially a high powered, really fast format such as modern. And then one of the best Wraths ever printed, Wrath of Skies,
Yes,
2 copies of.
yes. This card is amazing in Boros Energy matchup and so a lot of other matchups. This card is just amazing. The only thing is that you don't make energies in any way, so it's a little slow. It's at least 3 mana, 4
Hmm.
mana, so it's a little slow, but is really good. He can just. third games that you can
Mhm.
never win without it.
I mean, because you're playing two as well, you could like if you cast the first one, you could overpay, bank some energy,
Yeah,
and then for the second one, that if you might eventually draw, and then you can just it's so much cheaper on the second time you sky. So
yeah.
so that's the deck in its entirety. Is there anything more you want to say about this deck? You know, any tips and tricks before you sort of move on to sort of things like you've been doing in the background with your sideboard plan, your Patreon, and all that?
Yeah, I think the one of the most difficult thing of the deck is that you have to recognize your plan in the game in
Mm-hmm.
first couple of turns. I think the first turns are the most difficult one to understand your plan because every draw discard and every surveil and every choose you make in the turns
Mm-hmm.
are you have to know what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
So you go surveil and there is a okay, what's gonna happen probably in this game? Do I need to kill my opponent creature, or I want to dig more for the combo for a
Mm.
protection? You have to know the matchup really well, all
Yeah.
the matchups really well, and also decide if you're going mid range or go. Okay, I'm gonna lose probably. I will go some game with against energy. Okay, I'm gonna lose in 2 turns, so I'll go draw two, discard Atraxa, and go Goryo. If they
Yeah.
have Trap and Charm, I'm gonna lose.
You
So
just got a high roll,
the
haven't you?
fact that yeah, I think the fact that you have those a lot of small choices between surveil, between which card to discard or not,
Mm-hmm.
makes the deck really hard to play because if you most of the games if you do one of these wrong, you end up losing by that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is excellent because it is that thing you said before about being skill intensive because you do can fill so many roles with this deck. If you can identify that role as early as possible, then you just it's so advantage. Like it's so worth putting the time and effort into this deck. I think, and I think it's a deck that not many people could pick up and just play straight away. I think this deck rewards effort. It rewards nurturing the deck and rewards actually playing and understanding the deck too.
Yeah, also knowing, of course, when I make a deck list, is easier because when you think, why are, instead of copying it, I mean, why am I putting this card and why not? Of course, you can identify his job, so
Mm-hmm.
every time you draw it and you know how to if the sideboard in, sideboard out is the fact that I thought on every card like 20 minutes, okay, let me make 5 games with that
Mm-hmm.
card and stuff like that. I know exactly what this card is supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's easy to get rid of it or stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And speaking of sideboarding, you have just released a free sideboard map on your Patreon, which I will link in the show notes, so it'll be there for everyone to have a look at. Follow your Patreon, support you, etc. What made you want to do that then? What made you want to share that sort of information? Because it's a really honest thing to do. Is to like I put all this work in, and I really want to share it with people to experience the sort of journey that I've had and sort of help people on the way. What sort of made you do that?
Okay, so actually, I can understand. I do see a lot of effort for this deck, a lot of support, people
Mm-hmm.
liking it. But when I play decks like that with a lot of one cards with a combo, I
Mm-hmm.
felt really hard to sideboard with this deck. So I will
Yes.
say, okay, I will help people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I did the deck list, so I know really well what to get rid of, what to. So I want to help people. I did it for free because once I did it right in the sideboard for me, like it was like less than an hour.
Yeah.
So for me, it's fair to make it free. I'll probably publish an article which I will work a lot of it, and
Yes.
this will not be free, of course, because I will
Mm-hmm.
put a lot of effort in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once I did all of this game, making a sideboard it was like half an hour. So I don't want to get paid, for half an
Yeah.
hour. And I want to help people. They showed a lot of interest in the on this deck, so
Yeah.
I like it to do it.
Yeah, I like that approach. It's really honest. It's really good. It's really wholesome as well. Like I like that looking after people in that way. And then then when you do your big articles, you put a lot of work in it. They'll hopefully show you the love back, and it's a sort of a two-way street that way, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I will put some effort in the. Now I don't have a lot of time, to be honest, between Pro Tour testing and a lot of work in this period. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on an article, which of course will need a lot of time. I want to put all the card choices, some mulligan, the three
Yep.
matchup explanation. And of course, this is a much higher job, so I will make a price on it. But I think the sideboard was really was free for me. That was okay.
Yeah, cool. Just before we sort of end this segment and moving on to finishing the pod, I just want to know, what are the really good matchups for this deck, and what sort of the matchups that you don't really want to see?
Actually, the thing that I like with this deck is that you can play every matchup. It's not a
Yeah,
matchup I say I really don't want to play it.
yeah,
But the negative thing is that sometimes you lose because you never draw your Goryo,
hmm,
never draw your Atraxa, get stick onto lands. So when your deck is running good, you can play in every matchup. When your deck is sometimes it struggles. Let's say 5% of the
yeah.
game you lose only because you are that kind of deck. But Riddler helped a lot because you dig a lot more in these cases.
There is a failure rate to this deck, and I've noticed that there is that failure rate. You could have your Goryos in hand and a fatty and a Goryos in hand, and you'll never see a discard outlet, or you'll have the discard outlet and the Goryos, and you don't see a fatty, or sometimes the stars just don't quite align. But I really like the fact that you've gone on this alternate game plan with Riddler. You can draw into it. You can even tap out. It rewards land drops. Rewards discarding cards. To get that early interaction. It's a really impressive build, and it's something I'm really looking forward to trying out myself.
Yeah. I think in the older version, the failure rate of the deck was even higher because I lost, for example, my semi-final of my Grand Prix because I had like 20 cards in my deck and 4 Goryos Vengeance. Because with the Fallaci version, you a lot. If you never see Goryo, you're never going to win.
Yeah,
Yeah, some is with just the frog, but most of the times it's not enough. This time you can just sometimes, okay, I'll discard my Goryos, who cares, discard my monsters. I'll win with frog, Quantum Riddler, 5 mana solitude, Catramo,
yeah.
stuff like that.
Is Fallaci Archaeologist still viable, or do you think that's old tech now? Like,
I think is not much more, not really good now in modern. If the 2 mana this drop is not enough. Not enough.
cool. Before we sort of finish, because that was really interesting. I was really interested in all that because it's a deck that I absolutely love. Before we finish, is there any shout outs you want to do? I would like, where can we find you on Twitter? Where can we find you on your social media? And I'm going to link everything anyway, but just for the listeners who are driving in the car or whatever, where can we find you?
Yeah, just on Twitter. About Magic, just on Twitter is Moscato Adriano, my my Twitter page, and
Mm-hmm.
I post something like the result, the new deck list, and
Mm-hmm.
some other stuff, my Pro Tour performance and stuff like that.
Amazing. So you're in the next Pro Tour, which is Atlanta, is it? Am I right? Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah, in
We've
2 weeks, and it's modern. I'll play this deck.
Yes.
I'll spoiler you that we'll play
Yeah.
that for sure.
Um.
Too many games to
Yeah.
play
We've
something
got
different.
so we're part of a competitive team in England called Chad Magic, and one of our competitors is in that Pro Tour, and I believe he's been sweating with Tron, I think, dirty Tron player.
Okay. Don't like it. Don't like it.
No. Yeah, this is way more my kind of jam. It starts with psychic frogs in it. How can you not like it?
Yeah. This deck that's too much instead of
Yeah,
go 3 mana Eugene.
yeah, amazing. So Adriano, anything else you would like to add before we sort of put an end to this pod?
No, just one thing that I wrote also in the article when
Yes.
for my sideboard guide I made a grid with the side in side out, but of course it's just a grid. So take this as an example. But if you see something different, like as I mentioned at the Europe, I said to board in Tunis Spellbomb in the Boros matchup,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the players are siding out Flage in this matchup.
Yes.
So
Yeah, they
if
are.
you see them without Flage, there's no point to put the Spellbomb. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a general grid. Of course, I would put I would say in the article more of the cases, but the grid is one is general, so sometimes I couldn't write some stuff. So take as an example and be ready to overturn the thing as what you see in your opponent's
Mm-hmm.
sideboarding and deck list.
Well,
That's really important.
that's correct. Any sort of sideboards, with it's good to have one because it relieves some of that brain pressure in a high stress tournament. But at the same time, you still have that mental gymnastics of I need to think about what my opponent's doing. I haven't seen, as you said, Flage, for example. So why am I putting a dead card in my deck? Why am I playing that? And could it be better if I actually brought, I don't know, something else back in the deck that you took out?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of times. Also, some of my friends who bought a guide and was like, yeah, the guide I bought said two sided like this, and I'm sided like this, and was like, if your opponent is not running Flage, why are you putting the spell bomb in the boros match? So, this is a general advice, but be ready to change things.
Amazing. So I just want to thank you for coming on to this podcast. It's been really interesting. I've really loved it. Hopefully people will find this as a really good resource, not only to get in touch with your content and see what you're doing, but also as just I listened to explore more about the deck, explore more your theory behind your deck choice and why you picked these cards and why you've splashed more on the blue white sort of things rather than the blue black. But yeah, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Also for me, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us about your sort of pick, your flavor of Goryos. What do you like to do? Give us a message below. Listener questions too. If you would like to fire in some listener questions, then you can either email us through the link below, or you can message us on Twitter. We do have we've YouTube and us have now made friends again, so we can post links again because we had a little mess up with terms and conditions or something. I don't know what it was, but we'll post the listener questions in the comments below. Also, shout out to UltraPRO. UltraPRO is a sponsor of Chad Magic, therefore a sponsor of battlechads. Really like the products. They've been doing amazing things, especially with their Apex sleeves. So check out UltraPRO, and thank you for listening. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.